and welcome to a special edition of the Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor, Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and Hollywood Pete McGilvery is on assignment tonight, but we have a special guest via Skype. He played 15 seasons in the NFL, a 6-time Pro Bowl selection. He holds or shares several National Football League records. His 15,934 career receiving yards ranks second in NFL history, and his 153 receiving touchdowns are third in history. It's my honor and pleasure to welcome to the Grandstanders, Terrell Owens. All right, Terrell, in the next few weeks, you should be getting a call from Canton telling you that you will be part of the 2016 Hall of Fame class. How does that sound?
You know what? It's an honor in itself. I think, obviously, to be mentioned with the likes of Brett Favre and others that obviously very deserving of a nomination. For me, I've always kind of had just a nonchalant approach to it because I know the politics of being inducted and what that process is like. So I'm not holding my breath that I get in, but I know that a lot of people that has a lot of admiration and has respected what I've done on the field, and my body of work, I think, speaks volumes and speaks for itself. I think, again, there's a lot of particulars and a lot of factors that goes into being elected and into the Hall of Fame.
So that's pretty good for a guy drafted late in the third round, huh?
Well, absolutely. I think definitely what I've done on the football field in my career, 15 years in the National Football League, I think it's definitely an inspiration to a lot of kids out there that really have the dreams of becoming a professional football player. And for somebody like myself, and I say that because I never envisioned myself playing beyond the collegiate level. I had a passion, a love for a number of other sports, most notably basketball. But I think for me, things just kind of happen. And I think with where I am now and the things that I'm doing off the field, what I did on the field is what's going to propel me with some of my off the field endeavors. And when I speak to kids, I tell them, you go to school to get an education. You would like to have all A's and all A's and B's, but I tell them when I'm talking to them, it's acceptable to have 3 D's. And those three D's are desire, dedication, and discipline. And those things are what got me to the next level and propelled me to the National Football League. Everybody has that 1 D, and that's the desire. But to get to that next level, in which I try to really educate them on the blueprint of what it took for me to obviously get to the National Football League without even having really an inkling of an idea of what I was going to become, I had to bring that discipline, and I had to have that dedication.
All right, but what we've heard, you're not done. So we've heard that you'd like to get a workout with the New England Patriots, and let me tell you, they could use you for the playoffs. You're 42 years old. Do you have anything left in the tank?
Oh, I got plenty left in the tank. The thing is for me is that I know that I could possibly still be playing. But the thing is, they feel that once you get into your 30s, and I'm well past that, into my 40s, they feel that your skills decline at an exponential rate for whatever reason. But I think, throughout the course of my career, I witnessed guys that really kind of defy those odds. And one is Jerry Rice, who played well into his 40s. So for me, it's no different. I think there's an exception for a lot of guys at their position. And for myself, I kept myself in great shape at the position where I am now. Could I have come in mid-season and be at top form? No, because I would have to condition my body in order for that to happen. But could I play right now? Absolutely. There's no question, no doubt about it. Age is, for me, they say age is just a number, but really age is just a word for me. And I think anybody that has seen me train, they know how I take care of my body. I eat well. If I could go in, if they gave me a workout right now, I definitely could probably run a 4.4, 4.5, rolling out of the bed. So I know that it has to be the right situation. if that was possible. I don't really think it's going to happen. Otherwise, they would have done it. And I think Bill Belichick and what they have over there with the Patriots, they feel that they can implement, guys into their system and still win.
What's your relationship with Belichick in the past? I know Chad Ochocinco had a great relationship, and he was able to come to the Patriots his last year in football when you had a much better season with the Bengals in 2011. Do you have a relationship with him at all?
It's funny. The time that I had an actual conversation with Bill Belichick was the year that we played him in the Super Bowl, and I met him back in one of the rooms backstage, and he basically came up to me and he basically said, he had no idea. He told his staff, because there's a lot of speculation as to if I was going to play, was I not going to play, this and that, with the severity of my injury, the ankle injury at that time, due to the horse collar tackle by Roy Williams. So we had a little laugh and talk, but he basically said, he told his staff that there's no way he's going to play. So they didn't really game plan for me. But during that whole process, those 6.5, 7 weeks when I sustained that injury, I vowed to my teammates that if they got to the Super Bowl, that I was going to be there for them. So I think that in the back of his mind should let him know what type of player that I am, regardless of what people may say in terms of how old I am. I can definitely still play. And as far as the antics and the personality issues that I'm sure that may factor into decision whether I come there or not, or them working me out, that's not me. I was young. I'm a different person. I'm in a different mindset than I was 10, 12 years ago.
Well, Terrell, obviously the desire is still there right now. And just to let you know, we're broadcasting from Bob Kraft and Tom Brady's hometown. They could be tuning in right now watching. So hopefully we'll get Tom? We'll get you a little showtime there with them. But my question is, if you would, and I have no doubt, and there's no doubt in my mind, not to, speak, not to denigrate anyone on the Patriots 53-man roster, but I know you could be at least the third receiver on that depth chart right now.
Well, how kind of you.
Yeah, well, I think you could. But my one question here is, if you were to play for the Patriots, if they called you up and said, brought you in off the street and said, come on, we're going to put you to work, wouldn't that delay your Hall of Fame induction for another 5 years?
It probably would, but I mean, that's the thing. I've never really played the game. Guys, I'm going on record and saying and telling you guys, I honestly do. I never thought I was going to play beyond the collegiate level.
Right.
So to have achieved some of the things that I have in the National Football League, for me, when I look back on my career, it's downright remarkable. For me, I pat myself on the back because I never really had any idea. So for me to be in that situation and really take advantage of an opportunity, I think it's somewhat of a trendsetter and really an inspiration for a lot of kids out there that really have the dreams and the aspirations to actually become whatever it is, whatever sport that they're playing. For me, like I said, things just kind of happened, and I took advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, that was, you won my respect in the Super Bowl there back against the Patriots. You were hurt badly, and yet you were probably the best player on the Philadelphia Eagles that day.
I appreciate it.
You were the most productive anyways, if nothing else, right?
True.
Well, and again, all of that, all the things that happened, leading up to the Super Bowl, those things happened because I taken care of my body prior to that. So nutrition is very key. It became a big part of me becoming the football player that I became later on in my career. When a lot of people when I got 30, when I got 35, people said I was too old, or that's when your skills are supposed to decline. But if you look at my statistics, every team that I went on to, the last 2 or 3 teams, they had number 1 receivers, most notably Lee Evans at the Buffalo Bills. He was their primary receiver. I outplayed him. I outperformed him, and I was older. The same with the Cincinnati Bengals with my buddy Chad Ochocinco. He had been there 8 to 10 years with Carson Palmer. I came in there and I outplayed him. I was like 17 yards from 1,000 yards, and I had like 13, 14 touchdowns. And these are years that they considered me too old, just as they're saying right now. So it doesn't bother me, if the Patriots were in need of my services and they needed somebody, a veteran going into the playoffs, then yeah, I wouldn't mind taking on that risk to delay my Hall of Fame induction, because for me, I never played the game for the Hall of Fame. I was in the Hall of Fame, back in 2000 when I broke a 50-year-old record, catching 20 passes in one game, and they took my jersey, and I wanted to keep it. They were like, "No, we're going to put this in the Hall of Fame." So back then, I told my agent, he said that was that in itself was an accomplished feat that I had just done that day. And so for me, I didn't play the game, for those type of records. It just kind of just happened with the body of work that I possessed and just the scheme of offenses that I played in.
Terrell, I want to ask you about the gloves, right? So we see these guys, ODB, making that catch for the Giants in the end zone, and we see second-rate tight ends making one-handed catches outside of their body radius with gloves on both hands. How much of a difference do those gloves make right now? And do you look back on your career and said, if I played 15 years with those gloves, how many catches would I have made?
Well, I had flat-out drops. There weren't any fingertip drops, and the drops that I had, it came from really just really kind of a lack of concentration. And I was such a receiver, a dynamic receiver, and I started to realize that I was really dangerous and a go-to type of guy, that I really was trying to run before I actually caught the ball. So that was a reason really for a lot of my drops. But other than that, you think about what these guys are doing. Some of it is skill, and some of it is the tackiness of some of those gloves. So I think that factors into some of those catches. I think if you look at the catch made by Odell Beckham, which was an incredible and amazing catch, he has some uncanny ability to track the ball down. He had big hands to make those type of catches. But yeah, I don't think that catch would have been made had he had not had those gloves on. So again, that's not to take away from the catch or his skill set at all, but it does make a difference.
So Terrell, I have twin 16-year-old boys, big fans, and so I told them you're going to be on the show, and I know your favorite player growing up was Jerry Rice. Is that correct?
Football?
Football.
I never really had a favorite football player. To give you a little history, my grandmother, she didn't allow us really to watch a lot of TV, so I didn't really know about Jerry Rice until I think it was like my sophomore, my junior year in college, and that's when I really kind of got a glimpse of Monday Night Football, and they were playing somebody, and that's when I first saw Jerry Rice play.
Well, just so you know, they argued with me all night. They're like, Terrell's better than Jerry. Just so you know, you've got the young crowd going right now for you. So you have a lot of love out there. Now we have to talk about the antics, because first of all, the Sharpie antic was just off the charts good. How long did it take you to think that up? Literally, just you invented the wheel with that one.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how you can kind of put a timestamp on it. I mean, if you can go from when you lose the possession, come to the sideline, and however quick or however long the defense can get their offense off the field, that was kind of, the time frame of when I decided to do it. So, is that
right?
The spur of the moment like that. Huh?
Absolutely. I'm very impromptu guy, and I'm a very creative guy. So it just so happened, Sean Springs and I, he was on the Seattle Seahawks at that time, and we have a mutual friend, Greg Eastman, who was a financial guy, and he happened to be at that game, and I saw him in the hotel, I think the day before, and he was like, "Yo, can I get a signed football from you to put in my office, this and that, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, sure. I'm like, you know what? I said, if I score tomorrow, I said, I'll get you the game ball. But just so happened, I wasn't thinking of it at that particular time. That series that we had just come out, we were sitting on the sideline and we were about to go back in. One of the equipment guys came by and they usually have Sharpies on them. So I asked him for a Sharpie. He gave it to me. So usually when you get a Sharpie, you usually write on blacking something out. So he kind of waited to get the Sharpie back, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm going to keep this for a second. So I stuck it in my sock. And so when I went out the next series, I figured, I just had an inkling, a hunch that I was going to probably score. And, and I think the rest is history. I think you guys know the rest. And so it was an impromptu type of play. Very creative for myself. I always tried to one-up myself because I was running out of celebrations. I was running out of touchdown dances. One man can only do so many dances.
Yes, he can. Wait, was the pom-pom thing was before or after the Sharpie?
To be honest, I have no idea. I can't remember. I had so many creative things that ran through my mind, but I'm not for sure if it was before or after. But again, that was one of those things that was very impromptu as well. I remember we were playing Green Bay, and I don't know if it was McKenzie or somebody. I dragged him to the end zone, and it was a rainy, kind of sloppy type of game. And he slipped off of me. I scored, and I just happened to see the cheerleaders right there, and I just went and grabbed the pom-poms, and I got them, shook them, and did my thing, and like I said, it's for me. I think it's something for me to really look back on and really be proud of, because some of my guys, they're like, dude, they're like, you are a trendsetter, for the game of football, because I think a lot of guys now have looked at some of my celebrations, and obviously the league has cracked down on those, and they're limited. But if you think about the guy, Christian, McCaffrey, his son. There's a video clip on my YouTube that I reposted. I guess he was about 5 to 7 years old. He ran this long touchdown. And then he pulled out a pen, a Sharpie out of his sock, and signed the ball. This is like 7 years old. So I had no idea that I made such an impact on kids at that early of an age.
Now, in terms of what made you such a successful, powerful player, there's a bunch of guys who can run 4.3, 4.4s, and there are even some guys who are your size who can run 4.4s, 4.5s. What's the difference between a guy your size who can run a 4.4 and Terrell Owens, just in terms of production on the football field over a long period of time?
I think you look at the measurables that I possess, and I was considered a prototype receiver, and actually, guys, that's the name of my clothing line. It's Prototype 81.
There you go.
Because you can't spell prototype without TO.
That's awesome.
So I think what made me dangerous is that, to be honest, guys, it goes back to those 3 Ds that I mentioned earlier. The desire was there, the dedication, and the discipline. And for me, and also you can add another D in there as far as my determination. I didn't want to be a failure. I didn't want to be average. I didn't just want to go to the league and be a marginal type of receiver where I played 3 or 4 years and then just fade out of the league. I couldn't have been blessed and been in a better situation than to play with just a storied franchise with the San Francisco 49ers. But, guys, I played with the greatest receiver, the best of all time in Jerry Rice. And so, again, I took advantage of the opportunity of what I had around me. Not only Jerry, but I had some great coaches. I was, like you talked there, you mentioned, I was drafted really low in the 3rd round. I wasn't highly recruited out of high school. So these things motivated me and fueled my fire to be the best that I could be when I really realized that I could be a good receiver. So there was a lot of times that I spent a lot of time after practice in the film room, by myself or with my coaches. And from afar, I watched what Jerry did from an earshot of a distance. I listened when Steve Young was talking to Jerry about running routes, or when he was talking to the quarterback coach. When I was a 3rd or 4th receiver in the offense, I soaked up and absorbed everything that I could knowledge-wise to become a better receiver. And for me to have done and did some of the things that I did, I wanted to do some of the things that those 5'7", 5'5", 8'5", those shorter, quicker receivers did with the quick feet. I wanted to add that to my repertoire. So what I did is I found a trainer who helped me, really tap into my fast twitch fibers. Again, I wasn't known coming out of college as a speedster. But when I talk to kids, I tell those kids, I'm 6'3.5". I was, obviously I have a great physique. I put a lot of work into the weight room, but you can never Google Terrell Owens and see him get caught from behind, because I knew that I wanted to be a part of 49er history. I wanted to be as close as I could to being somewhat like Jerry Rice without actually being him. And I think I carved and I made a niche for myself. And now, guys look and pattern their games after mine. So those are some of the things that I possess, is taking those short 5 to 10 yard passes and taking them to the house. That's the gratification that I got, when I got to the end zone. That was my motivation, that I could do some of the same things in a bigger sized body as those smaller receivers.
So, Terrell, you played the game clean. In fact, when you came back from injury for the Super Bowl, and I was rooting against you because I'm a big Patriots fan. I was hoping that maybe you could take the week off, rest, and just get better 100% for next season. But you didn't do that. You played the game of your life, and you almost beat us because of that. But what do you think about the NFL in general as far as HGH? When you were playing, how much of that was happening?
I have no idea. I didn't really consume my mind around things that guys did to have an advantage edge as far as their performance was concerned. And I kind of alluded to some of that without getting too in depth earlier when I talked about some of the things that I did in terms of nutrition and how I was able to come back so fast from that injury, because I took care of my body throughout the course of my career. After a year, when I made the catch, 99, 2000, I found a trainer over that off season, and he taught me and educated me on the importance of really just eating right. So when you eat right and you put all the right nutrients and necessary things in your body that are legal, it allows your body to recover that much faster than processing, a lot of the gunk that's in this processed food, the burgers, the grease, the fries. I didn't eat any fried foods from whenever I started training, which was like the first week in April, all the way throughout the season to playoffs. Off season, I gave myself a couple of months to eat whatever I wanted to, but I dedicated. That's why I tell you, and that's why I mentioned that dedication and that discipline to maintain that regimen. No guys can. They don't have an idea. That's what factored into the longevity of my career, is because those baselines of what I did to eat healthy and all the nutrition allowed me to recover from a lot of those injuries a lot quicker than had I been eating a lot of processed foods.
Terrell, it sounds like you go to the same church as Tom Brady as far as the nutrition and how to treat your body and come back from injuries. But like right now in the news, we have Peyton Manning and the HGH rumors.
Right.
There's the other way of getting better quicker.
Right.
I'm not saying that HGH gives anyone an advantage on the field, but it helps keep the man back on playing on the field. Not so much giving him advantage on the field, but getting him back in the limelight, back in the game.
Well, maybe in some cases, yes. But again, I'm very aware of the HGH rumors that the company, I guess it's the Al Jazeera or whatever, that accused Peyton Manning of using HGH or being associated with it in some form or fashion. But I can tell you guys, I can look at Peyton Manning and I can see from an eyeball perspective that there's nothing about Peyton Manning that says he's using HGH.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, right. Yeah, you can't find a muscle anywhere in his body. He can't pull
What
any
about
of
that
those.
forehead, though, T.O.?
Well, that's genetic. That forehead is genetic.
Yeah, right.
Wearing the helmet too tight.
So we have to
Right.
go off the grid a little bit, Terrell. So you were on Celebrity Apprentice, all right? I'm very proud of you that you beat Gilbert Godfrey, because I don't know, I would have lost all respect if you had lost to Gilbert Godfrey. You did lose to Johnny Damon, and we love Johnny Damon, so we're going to give you some love there. But you got to tell us about the potential president of the United States, Donald Trump, and your experience with him.
Well, and that's the thing. A lot of people, they've asked me that for the simple fact that I was on this show. And again, it depends on your experience, your encounter with an individual, is how you're going to base your opinion on a person. And I've been around a number of high-profile athletes that in some eyes they can do no wrong. And I've had some people that have had some experience with these guys, and it has been the worst. But for me, my experience was nothing but pleasant around Donald Trump. And for me, I can't say a bad word about him. Has he basically created somewhat of a firestorm, or he said some controversial things as of late? Yes, of course, but that's Donald being Donald. It's like Manny being Manny.
That's good.
It's good.
Right.
Good one.
That's good. You know your
Right.
audience, Terrell.
Right, but other than that, I think, you look at a guy that's trying to be the president of our country. He's had some level of success where there's a blueprint there, and so I think he's really trying to take some of those blueprints of success that he's had within his empire, and really trying to implement that into his presidency. So other than that, like I said, the experience was nothing but pleasant for me. Again, do I recognize that he's created some headlines here and there, but again, you can't say that nobody doesn't like him. He has his fair share of supporters out there.
That's for sure.
A lot of the folks in our audience, Terrell, will not know that you were a great basketball player and participated at multiple levels. A shot of truth serum. Could you have played in the NBA? How long would you have played, and what basketball player would you have been most like who we would know?
Yeah, I definitely, without a doubt, could have probably played in the NBA. Given my work ethic, and the same thing could have happened in the NBA that happened with football. And I say that because I didn't even really have an aspiration to play football, and look what happened. And you kind of factor in a person's drive and passion for a certain sport. The sky has no limit. And so for me, again, I've played, and if I would have honed in on some of those skills, definitely I can play above the rim. I think early on in my career, I was a Chicago Bulls fan. I was a Michael Jordan fan. But of some of the players that Michael Jordan played with, most notably his sidekick, Scottie Pippen, I would kind of say that my game would be somewhat like his. Scottie, my shot may not have been as good as Scottie, but Scottie's game is good in transition. He's very athletic. Again, he can make some things happen defensively. So again, for me, I'm a person that kind of knows the game of basketball, and so I would definitely know my role until my skill set got to the point to where I was a focal point in the offense and plays were drawn up for me. But again, yeah, I definitely watch the game a lot. I love it. And again, it's one of those games that you really, when the game is on the line, again, you have an opportunity to put the team on your shoulders, and you got to have a lot of confidence to take the shot when yourself and your teammates need it most, and you got to be confident in making it.
Great.
Well, Terrell, I want to thank you for being on our show, and I want you to let you know that we have a lot of hardened sports fans around here, and they don't tend to like the guys in visiting uniforms, but everyone I've talked to this week when I told them you were going to be on the show said they liked you. So you got a high Q rating here in the Boston area, so keep up, and we wish you good luck in all your pursuits, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks they'll be putting on that yellow jacket for you, and we're proud of you over here in Boston.
We'll be standing cheering when you go into Canton.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate it. I honestly, I think I've gained so many followers on social media, especially my Instagram, with the love and the support of a lot of the Patriot Nation out there. And I've been interacting with a lot of those fans on my social media. So I thank you guys for the support. Even just, the opening, future opening of open arms that they would have me there. So I couldn't be more appreciative. And again, that's really a tribute to really kind of my body of work that I've done throughout the course of my career. And I think those fans out there, they realized that I could offer something to the Patriot team if need be. And again, it's never too late. So I've kept myself in shape. And for all you guys out there, I appreciate it. And for you, Scott, it's Terrell, not Terrell.
Okay, that's my accent. I butcher pretty much every word I say. You go there.
Yeah,
just so you know.
All New Yorkers, all you Boston people, I know it. You guys, it's hard for you guys to say, but it's Terrell.
Well,
we have trouble with ours. You know that.
Do you promise to be on our show? Promise to be on our show again, and I'll make sure that I pronounce every word correctly.
Absolutely.
All right,
I know you like
great.
to say cop. Yeah.
That's right.
Thanks, Terrell.
Well, thanks again for
Thank
being
you,
on our
Terrell.
show. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Well, that's our show for tonight. Want to thank Terrell Owens. Want to thank the boys. Terrell Owens. Yeah, I gotta work on that. I remember.
We'll get them.
We have a new time next week, Wednesday, 6:30. Please tune in. My name is Scott Kerman. Have a great night.